What's up, gang? Today's review phone is Samsung Galaxy A53 5G, and the model I got here is 128GB of storage with 6GB of RAM. The color I have is awesome white, and there are more color options like black, blue, and peach, but in the US market, only awesome black is available. I have been using this phone a little bit more than a month, and I bought this with my money, so here is my 100% genuine, honest review. But first of all, please hit the like and subscribe button. That would not only make me elated, but also make you feel better, so it is a tremendous help to humanity. Then let's do a quick unboxing cause there's not many stuff in the box. We've got the phone right from the get-go in plastic, and there's a USB-C to USB-C cable with some papers and a SIM ejector tool, but no case and no power brick. That's all we got here in the box. Simple, right? A53 is the next generation phone to A52s, so this should be an upgrade and faster, but is it? If I can say only one thing to answer this question, I would not hesitate to say Exynos and ho ho ho. The elephant in the room. Yes, this phone is powered by Exynos 1280, and the chip was announced together with this phone, so it's a fresh new chip. But this processor is a clear downgrade from the Snapdragon 778G in A52s in terms of performance. Does that mean A53 suck and we should avoid this blindly? I think this phone could be the right answer for some people and could be a disaster for some other people. And to give you some context, Exynos typically does not have a good reputation. In fact, there are lots of people who hate Exynos for many real and legit reasons. One of the biggest problems of Exynos is the chip drains a lot of battery even when the phone is not in use. My usual experience with Exynos was like 15% loss overnight, and a lot of people had similar or worse experience. This is insane, and this drove many people up the wall, including me. However, the new Exynos 1280 is different. This chip doesn't drain the battery when you're not using it, and it is very efficient while idling. For example, I lost just 4% battery for around 12 hours of idling. So the Exynos 1280 is completely free from a battery drain issue, and it is incredibly energy efficient. I've never thought Exynos could do this, and I gotta say, Samsung did a really great job to nail the drain problem. This is not the Exynos that we all have known, and I can't believe that I'm getting this result from the notorious Exynos. And if you keep your phone in standby mode most of the time, A53 is the right phone for you and you will enjoy very long battery life. But there are very specific people who have to avoid this phone, and I will tell you why and who they are, so please keep watching. Now, let's talk about the things that I like. And design-wise, A53 has a clean and refined look. The camera bump here has a very satisfying clean-cut design, and it is seamlessly blended with the body. One interesting aspect of this design is that it makes the camera bump way more subdued. I really love this minimalistic, seamless design, and Samsung calls it an ambient edge, and it makes the camera bump well blended with the body. The frame is one chunk of plastic and it has a glossy finish. It surrounds the entire body from the top to the bottom, so the height of the frame is the true height of this phone excluding the camera bump. Personally, I think this frame design makes the phone feel thick. It has a rounded shape so it doesn't leave a mark on your hand like pesky iPhone 12 or 13. I mean, the iPhone 12 and 13 is not pesky, but the squared off design is kind of pesky. It leaves mark on my hand always. The entire body is made of plastic with a matte finish on the back. One thing I noticed is this matte finish looks really matte. Thanks to this, it doesn't seem to pick up fingerprints and smudges easily. I've tried to put some fingerprints on A53 and it's a lot harder than other phones. And A53 is light and won't break easily because of the plastic body and frame. It weighs just 189 grams and my initial impression was it is lighter than I thought, although it feels thicker than I thought. And this phone has 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display with Gorilla Glass 5 on top of it. The display supports a 120Hz refresh rate and it gets as bright as 800 nits. This is not the brightest display, but it's probably the best display at this price range, and I had no issue even under a strong sunlight. I experienced somewhat choppy scrolling and transition in the first 3 weeks, but after a month, it does what a 120Hz display is supposed to do and is very smooth. Also, adaptive brightness works flawlessly thanks to the light sensor, and since the display is completely flat, I experienced less accidental touch. And this phone comes with 5000 mAh battery and you can enjoy long battery life. For example, I got 1 day and 18 hours when I did 12 hours of Chrome with a screen on time of nearly 13 hours. I use the phone as I usually do, and this kind of playtime is very impressive for Exynos. And for a lovely video viewer like you, this phone will give you 22 hours and 17 minutes of playtime with 6 hours and 17 minutes of YouTube and nearly 2 hours of Chrome. I watched YouTube on LTE data for 3 hours, so you will get more playtime if you watch YouTube only on Wi-Fi. The screen on time was 8 hours and 39 minutes, so it's enough playtime even for heavy YouTube viewers. And for gaming, I played League of Legends for 4 hours with 1 hour of Chrome, and I got 14 hours and 34 minutes with 5 hours and 15 minutes screen on time. So, all in all, I think the battery life is impressive even though it has Exynos inside. And one thing you should know is that this phone doesn't support wireless charging nor reverse charging. And starting this year, Samsung is committing to 4 years of Android and 5 years of security update. And surprisingly, a mid-range lineup is included, so this means A53 will get Android 16 until 2026 and the security update until 2027. This is crazy because no other Android brand does this, including Google itself. Samsung won me over for this because this policy is the longest software support in the Android world. It makes A53 spot on for someone who wants a mid-range spec Android phone with longevity in their mind. And IP67 water and dust resistance make this phone feel more secure in daily life. And this adds up to using this phone for a longer period of time, so if you're looking for longevity, A53 could be the right phone for you. And this phone comes with a quad camera module. The main camera makes a really nice photo, and I got a sharp and very crisp image from 64 megapixel shot. And the ultra wide photo is okay. Even when I was facing the light source, it captures some details in the shadow, but generally speaking, it was a hit or miss, and I will come back to this point in the next section. And dedicated macro and depth lenses are fun to use. I cannot say these make a perfect photo, but it's very easy to use and the results are okay. Moreover, there are a bunch of camera modes in the basic camera app, so it adds a little bit more fun. And one thing I like in particular is that A53 offers an object eraser to get rid of stuff in a photo, and this works just fine. This wasn't available on A52s, so this is a meaningful upgrade. And you can expand the storage up to 1 terabyte by using an SD card slot. One thing you gotta know is the SD card slot can be used as a second SIM slot, so if you are gonna use 2 SIMs at the same time, you cannot use the SD card on this device. Last but not least, A53 has a good speaker for this price. It has a dual speaker with the main speaker on the bottom and the secondary speaker on the earpiece. With Dolby Atmos, you can get a nice and loud sound, but when I max it out, it doesn't make a pleasant sound. So I don't recommend using maximum volume. Then let's talk about the things that I don't like. First and foremost, Exynos 1280 does heat up. It doesn't heat up immediately as soon as you start a heavy app, but it gets hot and slows down eventually. In my case, the phone gets hot after playing 2 rounds of my favorite game, League of Legends. Each round is about like 20 minutes and I could feel the heat at the beginning of the third round, so I would say it gets hot in roughly around 45 minutes. And when it gets hot, the chip limits the processing speed. This leads to a significant frame drop and makes the game unplayable. Usually, I experience frame drop down to 41 frames per second from 60. And I couldn't capture the moment in my video, but I saw even 33 frames per second. This is a nearly 50% frame drop and no one can have a pleasant gaming experience with this kind of throttling. Games like League of Legends require a quick millisecond response, so it's just a recipe for a defeat when your gaming device slows down like this. And Genshin Impact was a nightmare. I could see frame drop even when nothing is happening in the game. Just strolling around felt quite laggy and slow. But Call of Duty was surprisingly smooth and I didn't experience any frame drop even after playing it for several hours. So if you play more than just a casual game like Temple Run or Candy Crush Saga, I don't recommend you A53. This phone sucks at gaming, especially when you need a split-second quick response. And if you like watching YouTube in 4K, you might want to avoid this phone, because this phone cannot play 4K on YouTube. Although it can shoot 4K video and play it, YouTube maxes out at 1080p 60 frames per second. Some people might think, nah, it's not a big deal, it's way too small to tell the difference, but once you're used to the crispness of 4K, 1080p looks pretty blurry. To me, it makes a huge difference. And the camera is okay during the day, but at night, it slows down a lot and struggles to focus. I shot night photo using a point and shoot method and it doesn't do a good job even when I use night mode. It was too exposed and has too much noise in it. It seemed like the camera doesn't know what to do and it wasn't a pleasant experience. I appreciate Samsung packs so many camera features in its mid-range phone, but this is a mess. Sometimes companies can add more value by giving us less. And I seriously doubt whether this could be solved through a software update due to the lackluster Exynos 1280. It is comparable to Snapdragon 695, and Snapdragon 695 is not a performance chip, nor is Exynos 1280. So if you shoot a night photo, don't buy this phone. You won't get a satisfying night shot from this phone. And this phone does 0.5x only for an ultra wide shot, and it has a poor dynamic range, so some part gets completely blown away. Sometimes I got okay quality, but the ultra wide photo is more of a hit or miss, and frankly, it misses more than it hits. Also, the color looks washed out and less vibrant. And there's no telephoto lens, and you can still take a telephoto shot using digital zoom, but it does not produce a good result. And A53 supports 25 watt fast charging, and frankly, 25 watt is not fast these days. With 25 watt fast charging, it took 1 hour and 20 minutes from 3% to full. And with 15 watt charging, it took 1 hour and 47 minutes. There are a lot of phones out on the market that does 30, 33, 44, and even 80 watt fast charging at this price range, and compared to those, 25 watt is a joke. I hope Samsung will implement 45 or at least 35 watt fast charging to mid-rangers next year so that we can save some time. And it doesn't have a headphone jack, and I was so happy with the headphone jack on A52s, so this is a bummer. And although I like the new design, it makes the phone feel definitely thick. It's not a big deal, it's just I wish it felt less thick. In short, A53 is an affordable mid-range phone with an efficient Exynos processor, superb display, long battery life, clean and simple design, SD card slot, IP67, and quad camera. On top of this, you get massive 4 years of Android and 5 years of security update, which no other Android brand offers at this moment. Although it is a clear downgrade from A52s in terms of processing power, if you're not a serious gamer, it's good to go. Setting my target price is somewhat tricky for A53, because I previously said 250 is the price for A52s, and A53 is a clear downgrade except for a very few things. So I kinda feel like I gotta say less than 250 for this phone. But A53 is a newer phone and was announced only 5 months ago. So after giving it a lot of thought, I think 290 is my target price. And what I mean by my target price in this section is a super mega sale deal price. It's a price that we don't see that often, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. When I shoot a review video, I always ask myself, am I happy with this product for the price that I paid? And if not, what price would make me happy? We, as consumers, make a purchase decision when we are absolutely sure that we will get more value than the price we pay. Therefore, I suggest my target price that I think actually makes more value than the price we pay. Anyways, A53 is the newest mid-range phone from Samsung and you get the longest software support in the industry. I think this industry-leading software support makes A53 worth $290, although it is slower than A52s because Samsung actually commits and does do periodic software updates and support. And speaking of support, would you support someone if it cost you nothing? I bet you would, and here is my simple plan to support someone who really needs it. Scroll down a little bit and click the like and subscribe button, and please leave a lovely, very constructive comment. It means a lot to me and helps me keep doing a genuine, honest review video. So please give me thumbs up and be my subscriber for $0. I hope you like this video today, and as always, see ya!